What's going on, everyone? You're listening to the Monday Post Press Conference Recap, sponsored by the Ranch Harley-Davidson in College Station. I'm Alex Miller with the Eagle, joined always by Travis Brown. The Texas A&M football team is hosting the LSU Tigers this Saturday. It is the final game of the 2022 season. A&M 4-7 on the year, not going to a bowl game. Travis, heard from Jimbo Fisher, a couple players today, Layden Robinson, Albert Regis. There's still one game left in the season, but already kind of a little bit of a reflection period, I'd say, this morning.
Yeah, we're not going to get to talk to those guys until, we'll talk to them after the game, but we won't probably get to talk to them again until signing period in December. And so there was a lot of those kind of big picture questions today about the season. I think that it was telling that some of the guys said that, it was an up and down season. I think the most important thing that came out of it was Layden Robinson saying that if there was one thing he would have changed this season or done better this season, it was to have the guys on the team have as much focus off the field as they did on the field and take care of business off the field. Of course, there was all kinds of suspensions and guys not playing and for non-injury reasons. And a lot of that Jimbo Fisher and the team didn't really want to talk about through the season. But there was just a little bit of that off the field stuff that hurt them this year.
For sure. Well, A&M's still going to play a football game this Saturday, whether 30 people show up or 100,000. So, LSU, they're going to be playing in the SEC championship game. And Harold Perkins, a guy that got away from A&M the last signing class, he's really kind of leading the way. A&M kind of giving a little insight on what they're seeing from the Tigers early on.
Yeah, Harold Perkins has really come on strong lately as one of their big pass rush guys. I think he had 3 sacks last weekend. Really big game, a guy that had A&M as a finalist. I think he even did the juke move to the A&M hat when he ended up signing and picking LSU. I think it was like, go to the A&M hat, put it down, go to the LSU hat. So they were tight on that guy, and he's a guy that is a game changer. And if he keeps the progression, it was a slow start. There wasn't a whole lot early in the season from him, but he's come on strong. And if he continues this way, he's going to be an All-American moving forward for the Tigers.
Well, A&M, despite all the losses, there's been a lot of close games, and LSU certainly favored in this one, but if A&M, talking about a couple guys that may return, Devon Achane and Evan Stewart could give the Aggies a chance to make it maybe kind of a close game potentially.
Yeah, Jimbo Fisher said he's hopeful for those guys to return. They've been working hard to get back there, he said. So that would be a big boost because the offense was pretty stagnant again at times against UMass, especially I don't want to say especially wide receiver because the running backs up until the end of the game really couldn't get anything going. Jimbo Fisher said when he looked back at the film, a lot of that lies in with the tight ends not sealing the holes off for the running backs to run through. But the wide receiving core has not run great routes. A lot of the times when Wegman's been under pressure, it's because no one's been open. He hasn't really had any targets, especially evidence against Auburn when Moose Muhammad wasn't out there. So, yeah, they're going to need those guys back, and they're going to need the full arsenal of weapons that they have, I think, to be able to have a chance against LSU.
Well, something else Jimbo kind of touched on, he was asked about is, will there be any staff changes that are made? And kind of said it might be a little too early to tell on some of that.
Yeah, a lot of trying to pry into Jimbo's mind about this season and how he would do things different. And most of the time, his answers to that was that they needed to get through this game, and he was going to address that after the season ends. But he does say that every year he does reassess, reevaluate his entire staff, everything that's gone on. This is just me speaking. I would think that if there were going to be some changes, they might be made pretty quickly because you have to get things solidified by that early signing period in mid-December. And so you want to have at least a pretty good outlook of what your staff is going to look like moving forward when those kids are starting to decide if they're going to sign or not.
Especially, where A&M stands, they've only got like 11 commits in their current class. Plus, might have to recruit some of your current team to stick on board and not enter the transfer portal.
Yeah, and you're going to have to recruit the transfer portal as well.
Right.
I think this is going to be a big year to try to fill some gaps with the transfer portal. And so any of those recruiting jobs, you want to have your plan in place, your staff in place. And I think that that's going to happen sooner or later before the end of the season.
Well, Travis, anything else of note?
I will, Brent Zorneman kind of mentioned it out there as in the form of a question. And it was good. Props to Layden Robinson for coming out just about every week to be the kind of spokesperson for the team. I mean, I know it's hard for us to do our job at times when they're losing and not a lot of guys want to talk and there's kind of the same storylines over and over again, but kind of showed his character there in being the guy to come out and represent the team just about week in and week out. And so, I think that is key. And something that he said, going back to the initial thing, that a lot of trouble this season happened because some of these young guys were immature and were having to learn how to take care of themselves off the field. He said a lot of the reasons why that happened were just because of that immaturity. He kind of leaned back on the analogy of when you're young and you want to go over and touch the stove and your mom says, don't touch the stove, but you still touch it because you want to do it. And you learn after you touch it the first time that, I don't want to do that again. That there was a little bit of that happening. And Jimbo Fisher kind of chuckled and said, it's a pretty good story, pretty good analogy for that. So, I think you can chalk up, whether it be off the field issues, on the field issues, anything of the sort, you can chalk a lot of it up to inexperience and having to play a lot of young guys early in their career.
Well, I guess we're going to find out if A&M can piss in LSU's cornflakes this Saturday. You've
been waiting to say that.
Until then, be sure to check theeagle.com for all of our coverage of A&M football leading up to this Saturday's game. For Travis Brown, I'm Alex Miller. We'll see you next time.